All right. Well, welcome to Someone's Good Books, everyone. It's the show that shines a light on really good books released during a challenging time. I'm your host, Joel A. Sutherland, the author of the bestselling Haunted Canada series, and the person on screen most likely to be wearing pajama pants right now. My guest today is Jeff Szpirglas, the author of several works of fiction and nonfiction, including the best-selling Wild Cards and the Red Maple Award nominee, You Just Can't Help It. He has worked at CTV and was an editor at Chirp Chickadee and Owl magazines. Jeff lives in Kitchener, Ontario. Hello, Jeff.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Jeff, can you hear me? I love live shows. A little technical delay there.
Are we
Well,
good?
you can hear me, I can hear you. And yeah, I'm good, you're good. Who knows? We'll just figure it out as we go along. That's what I keep telling everyone.
Is there a 5 seconds delay between us?
There's a slight delay. That'll just add dramatic tension after I ask you a question before you answer. We'll all be on the edge of our seat, like, what's he going to say?
No.
What's he going to say? All right. Well, for anybody that's watching on Facebook right now, if you want to say hello or ask any questions, please do so. I'll keep my eye on the chat, and we'll get to that if we have some time. So without any further ado, Jeff, are you all set? Did you want to get started?
I'm good to go.
See? Dramatic effect. I was waiting for your answer. I was like, is he going to be good to go or not good to go? You were good to go. I'm glad to hear it. And it's time to get into somebody's good books. First question, Jeff. Tales from the Fringes of Fear was published by Orca on April 21st, 2020. In the spirit of the show, please tell us what makes it a good book.
What makes it a good book? It's super scary, and it is a collection of 13 terrifying stories for, you're putting the book up as I speak. It's a collection of 13 very funny and very terrifying stories for middle grade readers, or 40-something-year-old men to have written them. It is the companion piece to another book called Tales from Beyond Brain. I'm going to hold up here, and I know that I'm on a slight delay, which actually is very fitting because I have a couple of stories that do involve people hurtling through time in very interesting ways. So I don't have a big problem that we have this strange delay between us. I embrace it as much as I can.
It's perfectly timed for this day and age when we're all online all day long, and there's often time delays among other, technical snafus as well. Kids interrupting, pets interrupting.
We're Dr. Shirt, who himself is a time traveler, so we're good. It's meant to be.
It's full circle. It's perfect. It was absolutely meant to be. Well, tell us a little bit what it's like having a book released during a global pandemic.
It is not the best time in some ways to have released some books. Actually, it's challenging if you're releasing one book, but actually this year I'm releasing 4 books during a global pandemic. So Tales from the Fringes of Fear is being first, which is out now. You can buy it online. You can, any of your good bookstores who can send it to you, or via Amazon or through Orca. You can open chapters. I'm going to support our local Canadian booksellers. Coming up in June, I got a physical copy of my sequel to Countdown to Danger, Canadian Survival. We have Countdown to Danger, Canadian Sabotage, which is a choose-your-own style story from Scholastic. But wait, that's not all, because...
Wait, there's more?
There's more, because in theory... Record Store Day is coming up. I mean, it was scheduled. In theory, I was meant to be in Los Angeles last week promoting the release of Planet Wax, which is a book about science fiction soundtracks co-written with Aaron Lupton. Also, book is here. It's good to go. We have a little self-isolation problem to deal with, and then I was meant to have in the fall another book by my wife Danielle Sangon, Shark Bait. It's going to come out. They're all going to come out in due course. So having this was going to be quite the year with some international travel and a lot of promotion. it's being done virtually right now. It doesn't mean that I'm not excited to embrace technology. Time delays all to get these books out there. I'm very excited about all of them.
That's great. Yeah, things are shifting a lot in publishing, aren't they, right now? Some books have just gone ahead and come out. Others are being delayed. It's an unusual time, for sure, to say the least.
100%. But I'm using my time now to just work and craft more stories. I have at least 11 or 12 new scary stories for a hypothetical other tales book. I actually just finished writing a draft of the virus self-isolation tale, and I had been circling that one for a while. In that I feel like not doing a story about people being scared, being inside, and being afraid to get too close to each other. Like, this is a very real and real anxiety they all have, and that every kid is going to have experience. So it's a given that, like, if there ever is a third book in the series, there's got to be a story about that. But it took me a while to figure out what it was going to be about.
That would be challenging.
I thought hand sanitizer. Let's do a scary hand sanitizer story. I couldn't figure out what. Maybe there is one, but I haven't written that one yet.
Hard to crack the code on what that storyline would be. Yeah. Well, I want to mention that Quill and Quire wrote that the stories and tales from the Fringes of Fear will frighten a new generation of children. You're a father, a teacher. Why exactly are you trying to frighten small children? And I'm asking that as somebody who would never try and do that with his own writing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Right, of course, never. But you, I think, like me, really like. There's such an attraction to being scared, in a safe way. I think in the confines of a story or a movie where that you're showing the covers, like there's not going to be a skeleton or a werewolf that's going to pop out and get me, but that there's a real rush to that feeling of being afraid of, am I going to have nightmares? The lights go out and suddenly you are in that night world of your bedroom wondering, like, what really is out there? And I think that scary stories help us to address our fears and to confront them in a safe way, and often using tropes that are familiar. And so they can. I think, to me, many scary movies are also really funny because they're so over the edge. Like for me, a scary movie for me is like watching Marriage Story, that movie that just came out. I would not in my stomach watching Marriage Story, but I can also watch a movie called Brain about a giant monster brain that pulsates and opens up and swallows people, and that's a great film. I enjoy myself thoroughly, even as people are being, gorily diced and sliced. But the marriage is too much for me to take.
Too intense. I hear that. This is funny. It's like I'm talking to the mirror right now. That's a question I get asked all the time too, both at schools, visiting, talking to students, and also whenever I speak to the media. And I have a very similar answer, and it's true and from the heart that, scares can be therapeutic and they can be very funny. And some of my favorite movies, scary movies, are really funny ones too, mixes of comedy and horror.
I can't think of a really good scary movie that doesn't at some level have, or scary story that doesn't at some level have very dark gallows humor, kind of lurking underneath it. Their horror and comedy are all about timing. It's about expectation. Is that thing really in the closet? There's always like the fake scare. You open the door. No, it's nothing. It's a cat. And then the monster comes and gets you, and it's hilarious. Because of course the monster's going to come get you. It's going to get you in like X amount of time. So comedy is just about timing and punchlines, right? So it's about the rhythm and the way things are delivered that either meet your expectations or often in comedy or exceed your expectations. Just very different.
Right. Yeah. Things that shock the audience, either shock them into screaming or shock them into laughing, whether it's a horror or comedy. Yeah, it's great. All right. Speaking of scary stuff, I've got to ask you a scary question. What scares you more during quarantine? Running out of toilet paper, running out of yeast, or running out of ways to keep your children entertained?
Oh, ho, ho, what a question. I am keeping my children entertained. In my other life, I am a public school teacher, just as you are a librarian in your other life, but we're not writing scary things. So the irony is I taught grade 2 for 7 years, and my children are in grade 2. So I feel like strangely well equipped to keep my kids occupied, because what I do every day. And we have daddy school. If anyone, for example, who's watching this who is an Ontario-based resident and my age, I've been reading Read All About It, the old TV Ontario scary show from my youth, which was actually very influential. So teaching, the kids, not scary at all. Probably the yeast. It's hard to find.
It's very hard to find. I've heard people having to resort to going to local breweries that are selling it now. Curbside delivery. They don't need as much as they usually do. And if they have any, they're packaging it up and selling it to people and probably making a pretty decent profit from it too.
Right.
It's a scary bread baking world out there, Jeff. I'm just looking at all the pictures and drooling over them. I haven't been baking myself.
There's got to be a scary story about yeast that I haven't written yet.
There's got to be something with yeast and hand sanitizer, maybe, for your next collection.
Ooh, yeah.
Excellent. So you have another book coming out on June 1st, unless the date has changed. You mentioned a lot of your books coming along the pipeline, but Countdown to Danger, Canadian Sabotage by Scholastic Canada. It's your second Choose Your Own Ending book for them. And in the spirit of that, it's now time for you to choose your own ending. Death by chocolate or death by kittens?
Oh. I really like kittens, and I do like chocolate. I feel like you're going to go.
You can always mix it up and pick a column C, an option C that I didn't even supply.
No, let's go drown in a vat of chocolate. What a way to go. Yeah. These books are really fun.
That's what I was going to say. All joking aside, I've always wanted to write a choose your own adventure style book. So I'm insanely jealous that you've written two. Tell us a little bit about them.
So actually, it's my third choose your own style story. I did one with Scholastic Education years and years ago. And it was like a medieval story. It was called Surf's Up. SERF' up. And that was with so it's sitting in many schools throughout Canada, like in their guided reading bins. But doing the Choose Your Own Adventure book is a lot of fun because you get, for me anyway, the biggest fun for me is like mapping it all out. Here are my albums. You can kind of see behind me. I've got sticky notes on the wall. I've got wainscoting, which actually prevents me from doing what I would do on the wall for a Choose Your Own story, because I literally had mapped out my entire wall in my old house from like ceiling to floor with sticky notes, all 30 stories. And for this one, I ended up, I brought with me, like, this is what the story map would look like. It's just a giant flow chart. And you can see the little red skulls. Those are when you die, and the green check marks are the survival endings. So
I love it.
And everything is, you have to think like it's a flow chart. And then the writing of it becomes, once that's done, the writing of it is actually not too difficult, because I have to achieve X and Y in this little space, and then A and B in the next one. And then you just kind of work through it. So the hardest part really is just figuring out how all the pieces come together. I think in the first one, I wanted it so that one story line fed into another storyline, because I thought that would be an interesting way of doing the Choose Your Own. The trick is, at that meeting point where story strand A and B meet, whatever you have afterwards can't rely on any information that's exclusive to either of those story strands, or else it doesn't make sense. it's a lot like, do you remember in Back to the Future 2 when he goes into like alternate 1985 and he has to actually draw the map of how changing time and can be altered and the present is obviously changed by your actions in the past. So it's a little bit like that. Mind-bending.
I base all my time travel knowledge on that specific scene.
Yeah, it's a good one.
That's how I can understand time travel stories. Yeah. That's so cool. I mean, it sounds fun and challenging and also nightmarish at the same
Yeah, the nightmare is meeting, the publisher's deadline to get it all done. But
well, that's a given.
But when you have really strong editors, which I have, I'm very fortunate to have at Scholastic and at Orca, and just to have a very good collaborative team, because the funny thing is your name goes on the book and maybe the illustrator's name, but I don't know why the editor's name is put on there. What a major role they play, right? It's like it's this fallacy we have that the director is the author of the film. Well, actually, no, the film is the hundreds of people who worked on it. So to Aaron Haggard at Scholastic and to Tanya Trafford at Orca, big thanks. Like they are really key people in the making of these books.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. All right. Well, I have one more question for you, Jeff.
Yeah.
You have, as you mentioned earlier, an adult book, Planet Wax, coming out later this year. And yet another children's book, Sharkbait, that's now coming out early next year. So this is a three-part question for you. When do you sleep? Do you sleep? Are you a robot?
What a great question. And
I pride myself on that one.
There was a time in my life when I said, I'm only going to write. I'm not going to have any other day job. And that was called like immediately after graduating university. And I accomplished far more in the little snippets of time since having children than I ever did. And I've been more more productive since having kids and having less time and using it just a lot more creatively than I ever did before having kids. And in fact, I've said this before, but Tales from Beyond the Brain was written. A lot of the stories for this were written because right after my kids were born, because I was concerned I'm never going to have the stamina to write a novel, but I wanted to not give up writing, and I wanted to keep some kind of writing routine going. So I was writing short stories that were obviously going to be scary stories because that's my default go-to setting. But they were written on like zero sleep, and so there are a few stories in here that have the internal logic of an author who is running on like fumes, but they work because there's kind of this dreamy, weird quality that I don't think the sleeping me would ever kind of go with, and I would probably have put on my no filter. Like, that's not going to work, but actually having the no filter worked really well for some of these stories. There's a story in the first one in which a popcorn kernel gets stuck between somebody's teeth and then starts to grow into a tooth and start talking to that person through their own voice and starts growing more and more. Like, I don't know where that came from, other than like I wasn't sleeping. Strange dreamlike quality of that story. That's definitely a no sleep story. So
you had me at talking popcorn.
Yeah.
That's my type of story.
Yeah.
That's great. We have a couple comments. Linda says, "Hi Joel, fascinating. What a neat mind he has in order to be able to do that." She was commenting on the choose your own adventure style storytelling. I couldn't agree with her more. And Sandy's mentioning spooky acoustics tonight. I think it's fitting that we're both horror authors. We'll blame the weird audio delay and anything else that people are experiencing on the fact that we write scary stories. It works. It's an easy cop-out, I think.
It's true, yeah. Some of the spooky acoustics, I always like showing my books. Yeah, I've got a book about spooky acoustics. Oh, my God. It's a book about horror movie soundtracks, also written with Aaron Lupton, the man. We both write for a magazine called Rumor Magazine. Of course, am I going to give Rumor a shout-out while I'm here? Yeah.
Absolutely. Love Rumor.
Yeah, Morg's a great magazine. They actually, I review movies for them every 2 months, sometimes books. So it's definitely and sometimes I will write simultaneously for Morg and for Chickadee magazine, where I used to work, which I feel are the two most diametrically opposed publications coming out of Canada. They're pleased to be able to work.
It's a great mix.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the tie that binds them together in a really unusual way that nobody else could possibly have done. All right, Jeff. Well, that just about does it. Sorry, go ahead.
Let's send manuscripts for each of those magazines to the wrong magazine and see what happens. That would be amazing.
It would be like some sort of weird Freaky Friday sort of publishing Canadian scene mix-up. It would be amazing. It would be a monster hit. Please do that and write about it one day. Well, as I was saying, that just about does it for this show. But you've seen the first two. I have saved the most important part for last. It's the part of the show where I ask my guests to show off some funky socks. I'll go first because I have no shortage. And I've worn this, Jeff, just for you, these socks today. I've been thinking about you all day wearing these socks. I want to show them up. I hope you like them. I'll show them to everybody here. They're pretty snazzy. Check it out. We have, well, it's hard to get it positioned, but it is Frankenstein. Franken socks, that's right, with a nice little beaker here, a whole bunch of lightning bolts. Frankenstein socks just to fit our theme for the night. So those are my socks that, since I rarely leave the house anymore and I never really have to put on shoes, they're always on display. I've displayed mine. Do you mind displaying yours?
Well, Joel, I don't have any exciting socks. In fact, we were talking. I have Jaws socks, and I took them out for this show, and then Jaws socks disappeared. I have my regular socks set up. Wait, what? Something. I feel something at my feet. Let me just take a look at it. Oh no!
What is it?
The severed hand!
There's a severed hand on your feet!
Keep following me.
How did I get there?
I don't know. Things doesn't leave me alone. I don't have a severed hand story in any stories. Might be time.
But I think I saw that severed hand. And yeah, I think I saw that in a video you posted where you were unboxing Tales from the Fringes of Fear, and it was under the books. Am I mistaken? Was that a nightmare? Did I dream this?
The hand that is everywhere you don't want it to be. You want a story behind the hand, Joel?
I of course. You can't produce a bloody severed hand. He needs to know. Let's hear it.
I have had this severed hand since grade 6. And you better believe that I'm the kind of guy that buys a fake plastic hand and have kept it for a long time. It's traveled with me to university. It's going to be a family heirloom. I'm going to pass it down to my kids one day. They're going to be like generations from now. That's what I leave to my future offspring and their grandkids.
Who needs jewelry and other expensive heirlooms? Severed hands, that's the way to go. I think most of our viewers would agree for tonight. Linda said again in the chat, you're both awesome and hilarious as well as spooky. Thank you. Made my night. Knocked my socks off. So there we go. You had a bloody hand on your feet. We've just knocked her socks off. So that's great. Listen, this has been a lot of fun, Jeff. I really appreciate you surviving the encounter with the bloody hand. Sorry I had to put you in that position with asking to see your socks, but we got through it. Before we wrap up, did you have any final thoughts or anything else you'd like to say?
Final thoughts? There's an implication that
you have to be really deep.
Final thoughts. My thoughts are, if you're thinking to yourself, there is a little person in my life who needs a book, I have a recommendation. Tales from the Fringes of Fear is now available, and at all good online retailers or at jeffspirglas.com.
Excellent.
It's my final thought for you today.
If they order through your website, can they get a signed copy with like a bloody handprint stamped on it or something?
You know what? It's the ability for me, because all the buttons are from online retailers. I have to get the thing that is it the Margaret Atwood has that does the automatic signing for her virtually.
The long hand, I think it's called.
Yeah, I need to get
it's like a robot hand where she signs in one country and somebody on the other side of the world, there's the robot hand signing exactly her signature.
Okay, so now there needs to be a short, scary story about Margaret Atwood's robo hand. That is the next story. I just thought about it. Robot hand in the box.
We got it. You are all set for your next collection. A couple of last comments. I love these puns. She says, "Gotta hand it to you." Awesome. Love it, Linda. And Gail just chimed in and said, "Echo chamber with a bloody hand. Epic." So people are, like us, we're rolling with the technical difficulties. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just having fun during the pandemic. And I appreciate that other people are rolling with it too. So this is great, Jeff. That takes us to the end of the show. I always close by saying do support tonight's author by maybe purchasing one or all of their books through your favorite online retailer. A lot of independent bookstores are taking orders and delivering as well. Or, like Jeff mentioned, you can buy right through his website. So thanks, everybody, for watching. Thank you, Jeff, for participating. I'd like to just close by saying stay home, wash your hands, and your bloody hands, because they're really gross, and read Canadian. Thanks and have a good night, everybody.